Hello everyone, Marianne from Revealing Light Tarot. First up, I'd like to do a reading that looks at the Saturn-Pluto conjunction and the lunar eclipse over a period from about January the 10th, which is the lunar eclipse in Capricorn, moving through to around January the 11th, 12th. These are major milestones astrologically, a pattern that hasn't been seen since the Reformation. So I want to look at the lessons. What lessons are there for us without looking too closely in this reading? Perhaps for another reading, we'll look at the Middle East as tensions rise. All is not what it appears to be in the Middle East, but I'll get to that in a separate reading. We've got the bushfires in Australia. We have some welcome relief, at least in the state that I'm in, with cooler temperatures, almost like a divine helping hand has been extended to us this week after months of wildfires that just will not stop. That has seen thousands of homes lost, lives lost, and millions and millions of wildlife perished. We have volatility across the world at the moment. It is unsettling people. They're feeling this astrological pattern. They're understanding that things are almost like being on a train and wondering where it's going to end up. Is it going to derail? There is this unsettled feeling that we have, and that's there for good reason, because Pluto brings through, it unpacks our core truths and forces us to look at them. Saturn, of course, is the taskmaster. If you don't learn the lessons that you have that have been given or shown to you, then Saturn will certainly make you feel them. So, what lessons have we missed globally? What has led us to this point with so much? With so much, I guess, instability in the world, with so much at times what appears to be chaos, what appears to be poor leadership, decisions made without reference to the evidence. I could go on, but you're kind of getting the feeling and the flow of this reading that if we haven't learnt the lessons, then what occurs now in this month of January, we have Pluto, Saturn, Mercury and the Sun, obviously, all in Capricorn at the one time. So let's have a look at what are the lessons for us during this Pluto-Saturn conjunction that is so rare, that has not, this particular astrological pattern has not been seen for more than 500 years. So what are the lessons for us during this Pluto-Saturn conjunction, this Pluto-Saturn conjunction? Pluto's all about transformation, endings, beginnings, pulling down structures, rebuilding from the ground up, a complete 360. What are the lessons for us during this lunar eclipse on January the 10th through to the 11th, 12th, and indeed for the rest of January? What are the lessons from this Saturn-Pluto conjunction? I think if we look at what has been leading up to this point in time, we will get an indication of what the lessons are. The first card that I have drawn is the World card. I'm using Cairo Marchetti's Tarot Grand Luxe, the World card. What is at stake here is no less than the world. It is all around the closing down of one cycle and moving into another. Some would say that's the ending of a patriarchal system, and we are rebirthing something new. So we've got the World card, double tens and a 1. 10, of course, being in numerology the ending of a cycle. Number 1, we begin again. Let's see what the challenge is to us. The challenge is the abundance, the continuation of what the earth yields to us naturally. So here we've got 2 major arcana as the signifier cards already. Our world is being challenged. Our world, our abundance, what is yielded to us is being challenged. Now, there's widespread drought, there's widespread natural disasters, earthquake in Puerto Rico, flooding in parts of the world at the same time where wildfires are decimating the landscape. Then we have a political tightrope that everybody is walking on with the assassination of the Iranian leader. And Iran, and contemplating Iran's response to that. This is what we have: the abundance and also birthing something new. If you notice in this card, the Empress is holding a child. We have beginnings, we have endings, and as a result of what is going to occur, what has been occurring, we are going to be bringing forward a new way of doing things, quite simply because the old way simply does not work anymore. The foundation of this reading is the Eight of Swords, and this is all about a restriction. Now, in my previous readings on the Middle East, I am drawn to the red blindfold in this, and the red, the hands are tied. There is some kind of restriction, necessary restriction, coming forward. This is associated with the sign of Libra, which is all about justice as well. We are being forced to take through, perhaps through what we're witnessing at the moment, to take the blindfold off and step forward with that light. This person is holding in their hands a light, and so the restriction. This is showing that restriction can be easily cast aside if we would simply take the blindfold off. That is the strength of that card. In the past, we've had the trade, commerce, making decisions based upon a short-term gain at the expense of the longer-term health and abundance of our earth. I'm witnessing climate change in this reading. We in Australia have sold our water, in part, some of our water to the Chinese, who are actually going to bottle it and sell it back to towns who have run dry, who don't have any water. Now, where is the logic and the sense in that? What are we trading? What are we trading simply for that? Let's have a look at the potential in the sky. What lessons are we learning? We're learning about being chained to these short-term gains without really taking that blindfold off and understanding. The devil brings forward, now that's a Capricorn rules this card or is associated with this card. It's actually a 10 and a 5, showing that when this devil appears, which is greed and avarice in the tarot, there is going to be change. And we are seeing, I'm feeling, what greed has, what kind of harvest greed reaps, and almost we're having to see that so that we change our leadership style to encompass more than just being chained to the almighty dollar. The lessons we've got as a result of what we've allowed to build up are moving away from values, are moving away from our core beliefs, are moving away from humanity and a generosity. We've got this anxiety. We know that something's not right. We know that we need to change the way we're doing things. We know that we're at the ending of a cycle. Our current leaders, the current situation in the Middle East, driven by, again, resources, money, oil, etc., territorial expansion. We can see all of that unfolding. We can see the climate denial in Australia, and we can see that what has happened with wildfires that have been, in the majority, attributed to natural causes. We've got, though, happening at the moment, we've got this strength and endurance. So while this part of the reading looks rather bleak, with lessons to be learned, our abundance and what the earth yields to us being depleted, that is the challenge for the new beginning. There are high levels of anxiety at this time. I have pulled the strength and endurance card. What is challenging our strength is loss. And the need in relation to this card, to looking at the positive side of this card, which is a card all about loss and turning away from what no longer is working for us. So we have seen, and we will see through January. We will experience a loss, and we will be called upon to bring forward our objectivity, our realism, and understand that we simply cannot keep going on like this in the future. To do so will be to imperil us. Opening up pristine forests in the Alaska to exploitation, mining in the Arctic, fracking, depleting the water table. I could go on and on and on. How much is too much? How much is enough? I think the earth is saying enough is enough. We've been warned about what would happen by 2020, and what is happening now was amongst certainly in Australia, a report in 2008 that warned of the wildfire season by 2020. We got it. Okay, there was no doubt the warning was there. We failed to heed the warning. Failure to heed the warnings are the words that I always get when I open up for these readings. There is hope. There is hope that we bring forward a new style of leadership, the King of Cups. We are moving into that. If we can heed the lessons, if we can make the changes, we're moving into a new style of leadership, the King of Cups. This is the hope, is a nurturing, firm, benign, almost parental type of energy that considers the good of the many. It is not the King of Pentacles. Now, what's at stake here? We have the Queen of Pentacles, both as a lesson and as an outcome. Your security will be challenged. That is what that is saying. You can continue to rebirth and receive some kind of abundance, or this card, this devil, will challenge your own abundance and security. We've got the Knight of Cups, an offering. This can also be, the quickness of political spin as well. And we've got delusion. Okay, so what are the lessons? These outcome cards are concentrating very much so on the lessons needing to be learned. The almighty dollar here, our stability, our security, what we bring into our home, sitting alongside the devil card. Clarified by the Knight of Cups, this quick seduction, everything will be okay, we'll do this, that for you. If we don't see through the illusions, then we are not heeding the lessons that are there, that the earth is giving us. So at the bottom of the reading, I have the Nine of Cups. This is associated again with the, in some ways, the Merchant card. It is wish fulfillment, but it is also the merchant reaping through perhaps this deception with this Seven of Swords, that is lies and deceits, the big con, and we have the Four of Pentacles, again holding on to that money and insecurity, instead of realising the abundance that is ours, wealth concentrated in too few hands, and not enough. Not enough equality, not enough care for the earth. These are all the lessons with that devil card. Now, that devil card is a potential, only a potential future. The choice is still ours to make. All right, let's have a look at the lunar eclipse with so much instability across the world. What will the lunar eclipse bring forward for us on January the 10th? Is there going to be some sort of major event that will reverberate throughout January? Certainly, the lunar eclipse will be a very emotional time for us. Again, this is a transformational astrological pattern. All of us, right down to the individual level, will have felt this period coming upon us in this unsettled, anxious type of energy, fueled in part by the I guess the decisions of our current leaders that are not promoting stability, that are instead promoting division, um, division, prejudice. Again, it is around what is best for this elite few, and also around delusions and deceit. So lunar eclipse, I feel that we're feeling this. If I look at social media now, it is a barrage of negativity against leadership in one way or another, and polarization. So the lunar eclipse can bring polarization. But let's have a look, this continued or perhaps even a growing polarization. Let's have a look at what are we manifesting? What are we manifesting? That, I think that's the key question. What are we manifesting in this coming lunar eclipse on January the 10th? What are we manifesting? Okay, so we've got things coming at us. Likely around January the 10th, there's going to be a barrage. Of course, understanding that Mercury too is in Capricorn at this point in time. We've got this communication, lots of things coming at us over social media, over media generally, from our leaders. And of course, the challenge here is this new start with this Ace of Wands. This is fiery energy. So emotions are going to be extremely high on January the 10th, coinciding with the lunar eclipse. This is fire energy. We have as the foundation of the reading the Four of Wands. Again, more fire energy. This is the Four of Wands is around community, returning to family, to a sense of community, to helping one another. This is a celebratory card as the foundation of the reading. But I'm feeling that whatever occurs around January the 10th, 11th, 12th will push people more toward community and away from potentially this instability that our leadership is actually foisting and forcing upon us. There is something around money with this Eight of Coins in the past, the way that we earn our money. This could be also rapid movement in the stock market. There could be some kind of financial news coming forward. I want to keep this reading a little bit broad rather than going into specifics, but we could see some kind of movement in the stock market in response to some kind of news that comes forward. We have the Wheel of Fortune as the potential. This is a karmic card. It is the end of one cycle and moving into another. So the potential at the end, when the dust settles, we've got this potentially a new start there. Now, we do have the King of Coins in the immediate future. So there is something, again, around, and people who follow my political readings will understand this is my archetype for Donald Trump and the like. So this is leadership that is based upon the almighty dollar. So there's something around perhaps the economy, the stock market, something around money that is coming into this reading. We do have the opportunity. The lunar eclipse will be a time when we start to think about doing things differently going forward. At some point in time, when we've witnessed enough adversity, we tend to step back and go, okay, we don't want to go on like this. We want change. And so people will be galvanizing their emotions here almost, and their will to bring forward new starts because of the Five of Wands, which is the environment. That environment around is I'm afraid to say some kind of it's some kind of fight. It's some kind of clash. I won't say it's war, but it could be some kind of military skirmish or action there that comes forward in the next week or so, around the time of the lunar eclipse. That forces us to galvanize us into really creating that new start for ourselves, because the hopes and fears we understand with this Nine of Wands getting to the end of a cycle. This is how we're feeling. We understand the need for barriers, the barriers toward this I guess this money in politics, this leadership that is taking us taking us off in a very unstable, divisive direction. For many, this next week will be about enough is enough. But I do feel around the time of the lunar eclipse, I have the Page of Coins sitting atop the King of Coins. There is going to be some kind of information or bombshell coming out. I am looking to America, and I'm looking to the American president. There is deceit here. It is associated with some kind of money objective, with that Seven of Swords, and we've got the Ace of Cups again bringing forward this new start. So something is going to come into glaring view for us in the next week. I do feel it is around the US president. It is to do with money. It is to do with some kind of deceit or deception. We have at the base of the pack somebody holding on to information. We have the Nine of Coins here, this independence. And we have the Queen of Cups, the Queen of Coins, this domestic. I feel security. Again, I'm going to the stock market. There is some kind of news coming forward, which will lead to a rebalancing. We've got the Temperance card and we have the Judgment, something coming to an end. I feel what is coming to an end, likely some kind of news is going to come forward. It's in its basis. It will be enough to shock us out of our complacency. I do feel also that with the appearance of this Five of Wands, we're going to actually again see the results of what division and polarization brings us. There could also be some kind of action here around this time, some kind of military action. It will be a wake-up call for us. It will be enough to galvanize us to say enough is enough. All right, let's have a look at what changes are we likely to see moving forward, and then I'll close down this reading and ask some specific questions around the Middle Eastern situation. Okay, let me just get these cards back in the pack. I don't want to be drawing the same cards, so let's have a look at getting these dispersed in the pack, and then we'll give the deck a good shuffle, and we'll ask our next question. What are the changes post-January that are likely to come forward? What are the changes post-January, Spirit, that are likely to come forward? So I do have the World card and the Queen of Coins again, endings and beginnings, and the Queen of Coins. This is around security, national security. I feel like, and it could also be the economy as well, getting our house in order, being impacted by changes in financial markets and the economy. And beginning again in some way. For Australia, we will be in the process of rebuilding. Let's have a look at what changes are likely to come forward after this January, very strong. The Queen of Coins is also feminine energy as well. Some have said, predicted that the January sees the breaking down of the patriarchal system, and are starting again with that Queen of Coins. Could be that feminine, bringing more kind of stability forward, that kind of energy that brings that doesn't seek to divide, polarize, start wars, that actually seeks to stabilize. All right, what are the changes likely to come forward post-January 2020? What are the world changes likely to come forward post-January 2020? This is a period of rapid change, I'm feeling. Now, we have the sun, we've got illumination. Something is going to be illuminated for us, challenged by, here's our restriction card. So if we can take that blindfold off, again, I'm getting a pull to the Middle East, but I will do a separate reading on that. There is illumination for us if we can take that blindfold off. We do have a fairly sharp truth that is going to confront us post-January 2020. We have in the past the King of Coins. Again, I go to the US leadership. This is in the past, though. We have the Queen of Wands, this new movement towards stability and security, and being driven by inspiration, enough will, inspired will, to make the changes. We have the 10 of Coins again in the immediate future. What are we going to get illumination on? It will be this money in politics, monetary gain, self agendas. We're going to somehow see that over the next few weeks. The Lovers card, unity, and challenged by retreat. I feel this is, I have to say, I'm going to the US situation. I feel that Donald Trump in some way will retreat from something. What he's done through the strike on the Iranian general, it's not over yet. But there is some kind of retreat. He makes some kind of retreat. The fear is that things will get out of control. And the outcome card is hope. Please do not lose hope. Keep your thoughts positive. What happens after January? From the ashes, we still have hope. Justice, through justice being done. And we have the 4 of Coins, this insecurity around finances, this insecurity, holding back of information. And of course, this illusion and delusion. We're going to get the truth. We're going to be able to see the truth. We are in the middle of a rebalancing. We are being forced to see things in a different way. The deception, the lies, and the deceit are obvious to all. We are cognizant of our loss, and we have our eyes on what is remaining. And we will bring forward this objectivity to the table with this King of Swords. We will bring that forward in order to achieve the change that we desire. So in summary, this month we're likely to see some world events that will bring forward lasting change, that will galvanise our will to move beyond this money in politics, this serving the agendas of the oligarchs, if you like, moving forward to more a saner, a more stable kind of leadership. We're going to start that change right now as a result of events in January. So there's hope. That star of hope at the end of this reading was very validating for me. There is hope, and clarified by the Justice card. The Justice card is the blinkers will come off. We will take our blindfolds off, and we will look at things in a very realistic light. I feel before I started, when I opened up for this reading, I very much got the thought that we have been moving toward a tipping point. The next few weeks is the pivotal moment, and we are going to move after this is done. We are going to move toward change. So I'm going to leave that there. Personally, be very aware that these are very powerful astrological times. And where you can, be aware that you're going to be extremely emotional, particularly around the lunar eclipse on January the 10th. And also be aware that you too may have to face some core truths, and you too may have to face some kind of judgment around whether or not you've heeded the warnings, you've learnt the lessons. So, wherever you can, go that extra bit further to make the right decision, and be confident in those decisions. So I'll leave you with that, and thank you very much for tuning in.